On a frigid evening in mid-February 1974, a tranquil parking lot in Fort Worth, Texas, became the stage for a terrifying sequence of events that would baffle American law enforcement for nearly half a century. A 17-year-old high school junior, radiating happiness after attending a Valentine's Day dance with her boyfriend, was suddenly and violently snatched away from everything she knew, leaving behind only a frantic partner, a scattered handbag, and a solitary piece of firearm hardware. What initially presented as a horrific kidnapping quickly evolved into a multi-generational hunt for an elusive predator, spanning 46 years of dead ends, deceptive polygraph results, and shifting forensic landscapes. "17-year-old Carla Walker had spent the evening dressed in a beautiful blue gown, celebrating at the Western Hills High School Valentine's dance alongside her 18-year-old boyfriend, Rodney McCoy. Following the conclusion of the event, the teenage couple made a brief stop at the Brunswick Ridgely Bowl, a local bowling alley, utilizing the public restrooms before preparing to make the drive home. They returned to their vehicle, sitting together in the dim lighting of the passenger cabin, entirely unaware of the figure observing them from the shadows of the asphalt lot. Without warning, the heavy passenger door was violently jerked open from the outside, shattering the quiet sanctuary of the automobile. A tall male, wielding a pistol, instantly descended upon the terrified teenagers. In the chaotic seconds that followed, the assailant aggressively bludgeoned Rodney over the head with a heavy handgun, fracturing his skull and inflicting deep, bleeding lacerations that immediately blurred his vision with crimson. As Rodney drifted in and out of consciousness on the seat, he could only watch in helpless horror as the aggressive intruder grabbed Carla, hauling her out into the cold night air. The last sounds echoing through the empty parking lot were Carla's desperate, piercing screams for assistance, followed by the heavy thud of a car door and the screech of departing tires, leaving Rodney dazed and bleeding on the pavement, struggling against severe head trauma and profound disorientation. Rodney managed to navigate the vehicle directly to the residence of Carla's parents, alerting her retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel father and her terrified mother to the unfolding nightmare. Within minutes, emergency dispatchers flooded the area with patrol units, their searchlights slicing through the midnight gloom as they combed the vicinity of the bowling alley. Upon securing the initial scene of the assault, responding officers recovered Carla's abandoned purse alongside a critical piece of physical evidence dropped by the perpetrator during the physical struggle, an ammunition magazine belonging to a Ruger pistol. Despite an immediate citywide dragnet, the night offered no clues regarding the direction the attacker had taken. 3 agonizing days passed as law enforcement officials, private volunteers, and searchers on horseback fanned out across the rural expanses surrounding the city. The agonizing wait terminated on February 20th, when 2 patrolmen turned their vehicle onto a remote 2-lane road running parallel to Benbrook Lake, approximately 5 miles southwest of the original abduction site. Spotting a large, concrete culvert designed to steer water beneath the roadway, the officers parked their cruiser and approached the dark tunnel to peer inside. The physical reality of the environment inside that concrete cylinder was chillingly grim. Lying on her back within the damp, dark passage was the lifeless form of Carla Walker. The pristine blue dress she had worn to the dance was severely ripped, bloodied by the head wounds of her boyfriend from the initial struggle, and her remaining garments were scattered near the mouth of the culvert. The scene bore the undeniable hallmarks of a prolonged, vicious assault. Her face, neck, and lower extremities were covered in deep, purple contusions and severe scratches, bearing testament to a brutal struggle against her captor. An autopsy performed by the county medical examiner revealed a devastating timeline. The young woman had been kept alive for up to 2 full days following her abduction, enduring immense torture and violation inside an unknown location before her captor ultimately ended her life. The cause of death was determined to be asphyxiation due to manual strangulation. The absence of any uniform ligature marks indicated that the killer had applied fatal pressure directly with his bare hands. Furthermore, toxicology screenings yielded a surprising finding, revealing that a potent dose of morphine had been injected into her system prior to her death, suggesting the perpetrator possessed access to controlled medical pharmaceuticals. In the wake of the gruesome discovery, a massive multi-agency task force was established, launching an exhaustive investigation that processed hundreds of individual leads and community tips. Detectives sat at metal desks around the clock, logging names ranging from local narcotics dealers to carnival workers visiting the area for a regional rodeo. Among the initial pool of individuals checked by authorities was a 30-year-old Fort Worth resident named Glen Samuel McCurley. Investigators flagged McCurley because public records indicated he had recently purchased a .22 caliber Ruger pistol, the exact firearm model that utilized the ammunition magazine recovered from the bowling alley parking lot. When detectives knocked on McCurley's door in 1974, the young married man appeared completely cooperative and unbothered. He calmly explained to the officers that while he had indeed owned such a weapon, the pistol had unfortunately been stolen out of his truck bed shortly before the kidnapping occurred. Despite a highly suspicious detail in the police log noting that McCurley had inexplicably purchased a brand new magazine for that exact stolen gun, when the early technical reading indicated he was telling the truth, investigators formally eliminated him from their suspect list. The case files were boxed away. The public fervor gradually subsided, and a heavy, multi-decade silence settled over the unsolved tragedy. The breakthrough did not arrive through traditional police work, but through an extraordinary leap in molecular science 46 years later. In 2019, the Fort Worth Police Department's cold case unit reopened the file, meticulously re-examining the preserved evidence from 1974. While original forensic techniques required large, pristine samples of biological fluids, modern advancements allowed scientists to extract usable data from highly degraded material. Carla's clothing, which had been preserved in evidence lockers for nearly half a century, was sent to a specialized private laboratory named Othram Incorporated, located in the Woodlands, Texas. Using advanced forensic genealogy, laboratory technicians successfully mapped a single-source male DNA profile from minute stains left on Carla's undergarments. This process bypassed standard law enforcement databases, instead cross-referencing millions of public genetic markers within public ancestry databases to build a sprawling family tree of the unknown contributor. The complex branches of this genetic tree pointed directly back to the Fort Worth area, narrowing the pool of possibilities down to a single surviving individual, Glen Samuel McCurley, now a 77-year-old grandfather living a quiet life in the very same community. Armed with this genetic map, detectives launched a covert surveillance operation. Officers conducted a trash run, legally seizing 5 bags of discarded refuse left on the curb outside McCurley's tan-colored, one-story home. Inside the laboratory, scientists swabbed a discarded drinking straw found within the trash bags. The results were instantaneous and undeniable. The DNA profile on the straw was an identical match to the genetic profile recovered from the crime scene evidence. Detectives immediately descended on the residence, presenting McCurley with the findings. The elderly man voluntarily provided a direct cheek swab, confirming the match with absolute mathematical certainty. In September 2020, an elite fugitive task force surrounded the West Fort Worth property, unholstering their sidearms and taking up tactical positions in the backyard to prevent any escape attempt. When the front door opened, the man who stepped out appeared frail, his thinning white hair brushed back, his eyes sunken into a weathered face. Yet this elderly exterior masked the brutal predator who had eluded justice for 46 years. During subsequent police interviews, McCurley initially maintained his innocence, but the state's case was airtight. Furthermore, a thorough search of his residence unearthed the smoking gun. The very .22 caliber Ruger pistol he had claimed was stolen in 1974, hidden away inside his home for nearly 5 decades. The legal resolution arrived with dramatic swiftness in August 2021. As the capital murder trial entered its 3rd day of testimony, overwhelmed by the crushing weight of the genetic evidence and the physical presentation of his hidden firearm, McCurley surprised the courtroom by abruptly halting the proceedings and entering a formal plea of guilty. He was immediately sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, offering a somber sense of closure to Carla's surviving brother and boyfriend, who had carried the heavy burden of suspicion and grief for their entire adult lives.